Hello, students of the Mary Baldwin College Adult Degree Program. This is Dr. Stuart Tausman. I am going to be your professor this semester in the physiological psychology class. It's a biology-based type of class, psychology and biology. The W denotes that we're supposed to do some writing in here, so we will do that. The purpose of this recording and the YouTube that we're going to do is to share with you some information about the syllabus, and I'm going to ask that you kind of summarize some of the key things that I talk about here so that you can better understand what's going to happen in this class. I printed out the syllabus. I'm going to go over this with you. I've got to say I'm really excited about teaching you this particular semester. Let me give you some background on myself first. You can include some of this in your summary if you wish, an item or two. Let's see. I grew up in New Jersey. Graduated 1982 from J.P. Stevens High School in Edison, New Jersey. Went to Ohio State University, the Ohio State University. Got my psychology degree in 1985, and actually I was very interested in studying physiological psychology. I took a class as an undergrad, got involved actually in some laboratory work and really enjoyed the field. Went to graduate school in Binghamton, New York starting in 1986 and was actually studying physiological psychology. I call it neuroscience, but physiological psychology. But ended up doing work, loving the research topic and the topics that I was reading about, but I was terrible working with rats. I was all thumbs, I was allergic to the rats, and so I actually had to leave the field of neuroscience despite loving it and enjoying it. So it's nice to actually teach it because I actually know a lot of stuff, but I just couldn't actually be one of the people actually doing the stuff, doing the research. So ended up getting my PhD in Binghamton in human experimental research. I was doing reading research, sound research, and so forth. Then ended up getting married. My wife and I moved to Rockford, Illinois, where I became a professor, Rockford, Illinois, at Rockford College, 91 to 2007. A small liberal arts college was Rockford College. Taught neuroscience there for quite a few years. But then I really became very interested in the field of asthma. Asthma is a breathing disorder, and started doing a lot of asthma research, and eventually I ended up doing a lot of asthma research and being hired at Jefferson College of Health Science in Roanoke, doing health psychology and asthma research. I still got to teach neuroscience for a bit at Jefferson College starting in 2007, but while I was working at the Higher Education Center in Roanoke, I approached the Mary Baldwin people, and for the last few semesters I've been teaching quite a few classes. This one I just started teaching last semester because I love neuroscience. The tricky thing for me, and the thing that now gets into from my history and background into this class, is I'm a very interactive teacher. I like to have a lot of discussions. I believe the only way to really learn is by interacting with people, and to turn a neuroscience course into that kind of interaction took some work, but we actually did it for the first time last semester, and we actually did it pretty well. But as an instructor teaching for many, many years, one of my favorite things to do is teach things for a second time, because the second time you really get it down to a good level, and I think I can use my experiences from last semester to make the class more meaningful for you this semester. So let's go over the syllabus here and see what we basically are going to be doing for the semester. Basically, the way I've got things set up, you've got the course description, the background. You will need the book, Klein and Thorne, 2007. It works as well as anything. So the way this class will work is we're going to have basically modules, units that are going to be usually 3, maybe 4 weeks long. And the basic idea is at the beginning of the unit, you will go onto Blackboard and you will participate with the 6 or 7 other people from the class in discussion boards. I'll basically ask you questions like, is there a drug? Have you ever heard of any drugs to treat depression? Or what's the background with eating disorders? And you basically will be asked to discuss with the other people in the class for the first week some discussion-oriented issues on eating, sleep, and the other topics in the syllabus. After doing that in the first week, and you must participate with the discussion board online the first week, what I will do is I will be reading what you guys have to say, and then starting in week 2, I will actually record lectures based on what these topics are. For example, if I ask you to talk about eating disorders, you will get a lecture then on week 2 that I will record and I will download that you'll be able to listen to, and you're going to be asked to basically take notes on that information and write out kind of a detailed summary that shows me you know what we're talking about. You have the basic ideas, you have the basic understanding, and you have the knowledge that I'm asking you to understand. I will give you a basic outline, but it's really going to be up to you to do the notes. I accept many drafts of these things, so you can send me drafts, and if you do a nice job with the drafts, I'll say you can post that for full credit. So it'll basically be week 1 discussion boards, and then weeks 2 and 3 you'll get a chance to listen to acoustic summaries and then share e-drafts with me as far as these individual assignments on the topics, and then you'll end up posting these. Now, the other thing that's a little unique is I was chatting with Mary Baldwin folks about this, the technology folks, and they said, well, Dr. Tausman, it's good you do this little recording thing, but that's taking up a lot of space that we have to pay for in Mary Baldwin. And so what they asked me to do for the first time last semester is they said they have a YouTube account with Mary Baldwin, and they said, can you please take your acoustic information and put it on a YouTube format, and that saves them a lot of money. So I agreed to do so. It took me a long time to learn how to do that. What I basically discovered is I don't really have so much in the way of slide information for you, because YouTube usually look at a picture and listen. But what I learned how to do was basically post one slide up and then attach all my acoustics to that so that you could basically listen. The other thing that we discovered last semester is the slides that I ended up putting on for YouTube ended up being quite degraded when they were presented, because if I put a full slide up and I tell YouTube to sample that in a strong way, it would actually take 20 minutes to take a 5-minute lecture that I had and set it up. But if I told it to sample at a really low rate where the picture wouldn't be good, it might take just a minute or two to download the acoustic. So basically, you're going to look at a slide for every acoustic lecture. The slide may or may not be good for you to look at, but it's really irrelevant. It's really an acoustic type of thing. So basically, what you're going to be asked to do is we start off in each module. Now, module 1's a little different, and I'll explain that in just a minute or two. But basically, modules 2, 3, and 4, it'll start off with a couple of discussion board questions. For the first week, you have to post, share. You've got about a week to do this. And after you do this, you'll get points for doing those discussion boards. And then you will see back in the main unit, after the discussion boards and the modules, some recorded lectures that'll basically integrate what you said on the discussion boards with new points, and these will be individual assignments that you'll have to type these out. And finally, since this is a writing class, you're going to also be asked at various points to do small papers about 1 to 3 or 2 to 4 pages, where I'm going to say look up a product and try to find out information about the product and type up summaries on that. So that's called a pharmaceutical product analysis paper. So hopefully all of this makes sense to you. You can send me emails. I love to talk with you. So modules 2, 3, and 4 will be like what I basically described. Module 2 will get into sleeping, eating, movement, and so forth. Module 3, addiction, schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive. Module 4 is a large unit, psychoneuroimmunology, learning and memory, and Alzheimer's disease. Module 5 is the final unit, and basically what I did last semester, and I may keep it similar this semester, is I'll give you basically a couple more product analysis papers to do. I'll ask you to look up a couple of things and write summaries, so you will get a writing assignment there, but it won't be anything super difficult. If you miss doing assignments during the 5th module, you'll have an opportunity to make up the work, but you can only get up to 50% credit on this. Finally, for Module 1, the module you're just about to start out and do, what I'm going to basically do is a couple of things. First, you'll give a summary of this acoustic YouTube lecture, and then last semester I recorded some good baseline neuroscience information, and I've got some YouTube lectures on those, and I'm basically going to ask that you just listen to those and type up the summaries. This is base information. How does a neuron work? What is a neurotransmitter? And so basically in the first unit, you'll be asked to summarize this acoustic syllabus presentation. Do those 3, I think there'll probably be a couple of assignments for neurochemistry, electrophysiology, and psychopharmacology. And then the other thing that I'm going to ask that you do is go on the discussion boards and basically tell us about yourself. Who are you? What are you studying? And even to find potentially a product that you might want to study during the semester. So hopefully this works for you. This will be converted into a YouTube video for you, and that'll conclude the presentation. Thank you.